Do you want to continue with The Witcher, or you want to do a different topic?
I mean, we just started recording. Shouldn't we do an intro or something like that, or
No, we're just trying
introduce
to get our
ourselves?
rhythm. Yeah, feel free to
So is this
introduce
not an
yourself.
actual video then?
No, you can introduce yourself.
I can't believe we're arguing this right now
I know.
over an actual recording. See, this is why we should plan this out. Told you.
Well, the producer here didn't say, "Oh, action."
It doesn't matter. We still
Yeah.
should have had this figured out before we started.
I wasn't on my phone.
I've been talking about this for weeks. Oh my gosh, this is how the first episode's gonna go. Apparently, we're gonna be arguing.
Yeah.
We still haven't introduced ourselves.
I know.
Either.
Go ahead. You start first. Go.
I thought this was your show. You should be introducing yourself first.
No, I'm just gonna jump right into it.
What do you mean?
There's no formal thing. We're just, boom, done.
Every YouTube channel introduces themselves. People
Yeah,
got to know
if
who they
you-
are. New subscribers, they should know who you are.
I know, but it's gonna get there. Don't worry.
Well, shouldn't we start off strong instead of just doing this?
Then let's just redo it then. Producer. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael, and I have here
Derek?
welcome you guys to our first episode. So let's start off with what we were talking about earlier. What did you think about The Witcher, season 1?
I loved The Witcher. I haven't read the books but from what I understand, the show followed it pretty closely. It was pretty faithful to how Adrian Sapkowski, I think his name is, the author's name, to how he wanted it, even though he wasn't that closely associated with the show. But yeah, it was a great season. I binged all 8 episodes in one day when I was sick, and now I absolutely cannot wait for season 2.
Perfect. And we were talking about earlier that did they start filming it, or they haven't started filming?
Yeah,
For season 2.
They started production. They announced they had started production before season 1 actually aired. So, which was kind of bold, and I guess they have a few seasons planned out already. But from the reception that this first season has got, it was basically going to be a foregone conclusion that it got more than one season. So,
Nice. All right. And then I mentioned that I was going to ask you a question, which I already asked our producer here. What do you think about girls or women who wear nose rings that go like that? What's your impression?
the septum
on that?
piercing,
Like right here. They look like cows.
the
and they have
septum
it.
piercing.
Yeah, septum piercing.
I mean, I'm not really, opposed. I'm not really in favor either. It's, I'm kind of
Girls,
indifferent about
it's
it.
a fucking turn off. Don't wear that nasty shit.
Our producer.
Yeah. Voicing his opinion, even though he didn't want to be. Anyways, that's not important. Yeah, I don't really care either way. If you want to wear it, go ahead and wear it. I don't really care. What I think of you, or how attractive you may be, that's a completely different thing, but I'm not going to get into that.
And maybe in a later episode.
Maybe. No promises, but maybe.
All right, so now to the meat of the questions. We just finished season 1 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus.
Right.
What were your overall impression of the entire season?
I thought it was a pretty great first season. It definitely gives Disney a little bit of hope that they can do a lot with their Star Wars name and product. The thing that helps them though is they've been taking from the expanded universe from Legends, and George Lucas, from what I understand, he was never the biggest fan of Legends, but Legends was a big hit with many fans, very many fans, and so to see some of those elements included in Disney's Star Wars, it's kind of cool to see, because there are a lot of cool concepts that they can use and draw from. And they've highlighted and they've hinted at a few of those elements in The Mandalorian. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. with all of those concepts.
Nice. And what would you think your predictions are based off the last episode for season 2?
Well, obviously, Moff Gideon, he's probably gonna be the show's villain. At the very least, he'll be villain for a couple seasons. The Mandalorian probably explore more of, sort of his culture as he teaches the child, or as he looks for the child's home planet and its race. And so it we'll definitely be seeing a lot of the I think we'll be seeing a lot of the Legends in Expanded Universe stuff concerning Mandalore. We might even see some stuff concerning Boba Fett, just because he's such an iconic character. I doubt they'll just leave him dead, or at the very least they won't go without mentioning him more than once.
Yeah.
And so we might, depending on how Disney plays it, we might finally get a name for Yoda's race. We might see the home world, because the only reason we don't know any of that stuff is because George Lucas didn't even come up with that stuff.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then at that point he just decided not to, I guess. But since everything's sort of out of his hands now, I think Disney will take matters into their own hands, so to speak. So we'll definitely be seeing more of and learning more about the child, and especially as it grows a little bit older, maybe it'll talk at one point. You never know.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think, based off the last episode, the jetpack that was given to him, was it earned, or was it like a plot device?
I mean, without going into, because they didn't go too much into his backstory as far as like his training outside of that Rising Phoenix training or whatever it was with the jetpacks. We don't really know what his character was like as a Mandalorian in that culture. So it's hard to say if it was earned necessarily, but it was certainly a cool thing for him to use, and a cool thing for them to show for the very last episode at the very end.
Yeah.
And I thought it turned out pretty well. Still don't know why he didn't have it in the first place.
That's true.
But they used it pretty effectively, and it'll be pretty cool to see it from here on out.
And our producer mentioned this earlier too, after we watched the episode. When he took off with Baby Yoda to get to his ship, how come he didn't take Carl Weather and Cara Dune's character back to the city and made them walk, and he flew off? I know he said goodbye to them, but it's all like, hey, let me get to my ship, let me pick you guys up, and then take you back to town.
Just cause, like, he's got a job to do. That asset is important. The remnants of the Empire, they're obviously pursuing him for whatever reason we still don't know yet. All we know is the child is important, and so we don't know if there are any rogues, like, because the bounty hunters that are part of the guild on that planet, forget the name of it, but Carl Weathers' character said they weren't going to pursue him anymore. But we don't know if there are any other rogues out there that might be working with the Empire, or if what the Empire are doing or thinking, the remnants. So it was probably imperative for him to kind of get out of Dodge and figure out what his next move is.
All right. And what was his name, Gus from Breaking Bad, something Esposito?
I don't remember
The major
first
baddie
name.
with the black saber.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Do you think he'll have like mirror traits off of Breaking Bad? Like, do you think he'll die from an explosion and like half of his face will be gone?
I doubt it. I doubt they'll just go beat for beat like that.
That would be a good callback, though. That'd be real funny.
No, people are gonna say they just ripped it off. I don't think that's a good idea. They should not go with that.
Oh, and what about the other characters that the Mandalorian encountered throughout the season? Do you think we'll get callbacks from them in the later season?
Probably. I feel like Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character, I feel like she was pretty popular. So we'll probably see a little bit more of her. Might see more of Carl Weathers' character, just because, bounty hunters and all that jazz. As far as, I mean, those are really, well, besides Moff Gideon, who of course is going to be the villain, I don't really see any other reoccurring characters.
Bill Byrne?
Oh, Bill Burr?
Bill Burr?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, he did leave them alive, which personally I thought was dumb. He should have just killed them. But
Well, it's Disney.
I mean,
Star Wars are for kids.
I mean, they have no problem dismembering people and stuff in Star Wars movies. So I feel like he should have killed them, but obviously not brutally, but just taking care of them. But yeah, you're right. I think we'll probably see more of Bill Burr and those other rogue-like characters that were in that group from that episode. So yeah, we'll have to see how everything shapes up.
Because it really felt like they set them up, and especially they did not give a call back to what's her name, the bounty that got shot and then left for dead.
Ming-Na Wen's character, yeah.
And who picked her up? Like, we still don't know yet, so we're gonna most likely wait till season 2. And no, I love the whole season. I liked it. There were a few that I felt personally that were filler episodes, which didn't bother me at all. It just felt filler to me. And knowing the excitement or interest of viewers about this season, hopefully for next season they're gonna be like hour length episodes, as opposed to like 40 minutes here and 30 minutes here. Hopefully we'll get like a full on hour, because when you're watching, which I'm bringing back with The Witcher, when you watch like a full episode of a Witcher, I felt like I need more. When it felt like in The Mandalorian, it felt like a cartoon. Like, oh, this happened, conflict, and they defeat the conflict and then move on to the next thing.
Well, I feel like they want to go the way of, because a lot of shows, they do the weekly half-hour episodes. Obviously, you got your other shows that are an hour long, technically like 45 minutes or so with commercials. But that's basically what an episode of The Mandalorian is. Yeah, they had some shorter episodes that were like 36 minutes, 30-odd minutes. But it's basically like that. It's just one of the shows you watch weekly without the commercials. So it'll be around that length of time. I think a dedicated hour, I don't think Disney is looking to do something like that. Netflix, it seems like they're a little bit more creator driven, I guess you could say. They're willing to spend more money and spend more time to do those types of things to add to the episodes and make them longer.
Yeah, because The Witcher was also 8 episodes long, right? So that's 8 hours compared to Mandalorian, which, I don't know, like 6.5 maybe,
somewhere around there, probably.
Below 8 hours for sure, because
Yeah.
not all episodes were hour long. Now, circling back to The Witcher, what are you looking forward to for the next season?
Just seeing more of Geralt and Ciri's relationship evolve and move forward. Obviously, they met at the end of the very last episode. Their first time seeing Ciri's first time meeting Geralt. Geralt's first time actually getting to talk to her. He'd obviously seen Ciri, as the events of the last episode showed. And then seeing more of Geralt and Yennefer's relationship. Obviously, they have kind of a rocky relationship right now. They're kind of at odds because of Geralt's wish, which we still don't actually know. The implication being that he wanted to be around Yennefer and for him to constantly see her.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, Nilfgaard assaulting the northern part of the continent, continuing their warpath, seeing how all of that plays out and how Geralt factors into it. So
cool. Yeah, I'm just excited. I can't wait for season 2 to come out. I'm willing to wait. And
I'm not.
You're not?
I want it to be out now. Obviously, they still got to make it, but
there you go. Yeah.
I want it to be out soon.
Will we expect more monsters
Of course.
season 2?
Geralt's a monster hunter. I'd be shocked if there weren't more monsters.
Like bigger, badder monsters?
Well,
hungrier?
I don't, possibly. I mean, there's a variation of, monsters that Geralt fights, from the creepy or like the obviously huge and beast-like monsters. Because like the Striga, that's a little bit more. I felt that was, even though it was kind of big, I felt it was more like the creepy type, like a ghost type thing rather than like a mystical type, rather than just a dragon or that Vukodlak or whatever it was called from the first episode. So we'll definitely be seeing a lot more monsters, I think. There were actually less monsters in this season than I thought there would be, just because it is The Witcher, but they did that because they wanted to flesh out the characters, and
Yeah.
I felt like this was very much a
yeah.
character-driven season,
Definitely,
which
yeah.
which I had no issues with. There was still plenty of action.
Yeah.
The action scenes were a lot of fun. They were great. Henry Cavill, of course, killing it as Geralt. He's dude's a beast. But yeah, I feel like there might be a little bit more action in the second season, and then it'll probably take more of a focus on the main three. So.
Well, the way I see it too is like throughout the whole season, it's pretty much Gerald looking for Geralt looking for Ciri. Pretty much, right?
No.
Well, he was in search, but that's what they were trying to allude to, right?
No, because the way they did it, it was pretty confusing, but they wrapped it up really nicely in the final episode. It was, they did a time skip, so all of Ciri's stuff was in the present, and all of Geralt's stuff was in the past, because they mentioned a couple times stuff that had happened in the past, like with Ciri's grandmother fighting her first battle. They had mentioned that, I think, in episode 3 or something like that, episode 2 or episode 3, and they mentioned her winning her first battle, and then in Ciri's timeline, she'd been queen for a while already. She'd won plenty of battles.
And we're back. So, final thoughts, and let's start first with The Witcher. What are your final thoughts on The Witcher, season 1?
I loved it. It was great. Can't wait to see more.
And final thoughts on The Mandalorian.
It was great. I loved it. Can't wait for season 2.
And what do you think about the last episode of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker?
It was great. I loved it. Can't wait for season 2.
Oh my god.
No, honestly, it was disappointing, but conversation for another time, I guess.
I'm still trying to figure out which part gives you epilepsy, but most likely it might be the
Oh, yeah.
the lightning.
Oh, I mean, if you want to give away spoilers, sure.
That lightning could have been anywhere.
You don't know why there's lightning.
Yeah.
You're just spoiling the movie for everybody.
I'm not spoiling nothing.
You're spoiling the movie.
So, I guess we reached the midpoint of Rick and Morty, which did a lot of snakes, and they introduced some time travel. What did you think about that episode?
It was weird. I felt like it spent too much time on that snake planet, like just dealing with snake people.
You wanted it to focus more on Jerry floating around?
I mean, it did plenty for Jerry, that episode. But obviously you want to see Rick and Morty get into trouble and do crazy stuff. So, which they did, but I felt like it spent a lot of time with the snakes, and it was just, it didn't make a ton of sense. Yeah. I mean, I get why for the overall episode. I felt like it spent too much time. So,
for me, the whole up to the mid-season, it was very up and down, because it's all like the first episode you get the death crystals, followed by the stupid app, the love app, whatever, and then followed by a good one, which was, what I think it was the heist.
I thought the heist was...
No, the heist was the third one. The fourth one was the dragon.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one was the snakes.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, so I get like these good up and down, because it's all like, it was a good start, okay, second episode, then a good third season with the heist. I love the heist episode. And then the fourth with the dragon. It was good, because I love dragons. And then back to the snakes, which it just went all out. I loved the season before it came out. I loved the show before it came out. I love the show now. I love the show. Yeah, that's like the DVDs that I've been buying, like just for that show alone. I go out of my way to buy the DVDs, and that's why I love that show. Not a lot of people like it, but that's my show.
Not a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, not
A lot of people love it.
well, producer here doesn't watch it. He only watches it when I watch it.
So he doesn't
Well,
like it. He doesn't
I
like
know.
anything though.
He doesn't watch TV in general. So.
Yeah. Not only that, he just doesn't like anything, right? Right, Mr. Producer?
No.
Yeah. See, he doesn't like much.
All right. So, did we go over your final thoughts about the midseason?
Yeah.
And we watched all the episode of the current season of South Park, right?
What was the last episode?
The last episode was the Christmas one.
Oh, with
Yeah.
yeah, we watched it. Yeah, I liked this season. Some people didn't like it just because they felt like it spent too much time at Tegrity Farms.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind it. I actually like Tegrity Farms. It's funny. More Randy is always good. So.
And Butters. I love Butters.
I feel they're my two favorites, but Butters wasn't really
No, he
featured
wasn't
heavily
prominent.
in this
Nope.
season.
No, but I love me some Butters.
Yeah.
Bring back Butters. Any last thoughts on anything else? Or how about for 2019? What's your last thoughts on 2019?
It was great.
It was. I love it.
And
Can't wait for 2020.
yeah, can't wait for next season, aka spring.
Coming in 2 days.
No, 3 days.
Or 3 days. Yeah. Well, after tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, happy 2019, everyone, and say hello to 2020. This is Michael,
And Derek.
wishing you a Happy New Year's.